get settled. So, welcome. My name is Walt, and I'm going to give a short talk, and then we'll have a formal practice today. And I thought I would talk today a little about the hindrances. I, I imagine that Chaz has talked about this over the past year, and I just wanted to talk about, in particular, the first hindrance, sensual desire. The hindrances are these kind of blocks in meditation that can come up and keep us from being fully present while we're meditating. It kind of inhibits mindfulness a little, you might say, or just kind of distracts us. Maybe you could call them the distractions as well. And really a big part of our practice is learning to master these hindrances when they arise, and also to help keep them from re-arising. So the five hindrances are sensual desire, aversion or anger, ill will. That's number two. Sloth and torpor, kind of the sleepiness factor, the low energy. The restlessness and worry, where we get sort of some anxiety going and the mind is churning. And then the last one is doubt. And doubt is kind of, there can be a positive form of doubt, but this is the doubt where it's really not helping us. We're doubting our own ability to do the practice. We're doubting, the teachings. It could be anything. So those are the five. And then I thought I would talk a little more specifically about sensual desire. But one thing is that we just want to check in when we're meditating. We want to know, like sometimes I just do a sort of hindrance check. Are any of the hindrances present right now? And just kind of ask the mind that question. And then sort of see what I find. And then, so we want to, or we might notice, wow, there's no hindrances present right now. And that's a wonderful thing. So we can celebrate that. We want to be aware of that as well. If a hindrance is present, we want to A, notice it, and B, think about what were the conditions that led to this hindrance being here. Why am I caught in this sensual desire for something? Maybe we're just hungry. We didn't have enough breakfast or whatever. It could be a lot of things. So looking at what's causing the hindrance to arise is very helpful. And then knowing the conditions that prevent future arisings of the hindrance. So we start to see how we can prevent the hindrances from coming in at all, which is really, as our mindfulness gets stronger, we get better at that. So and as Joseph Goldstein says in his book Mindfulness, don't underestimate the power of mindfulness with the hindrances in particular. He also says mindfulness is the root of all that is wholesome. I like that it's the root of all that's wholesome. So when we're practicing mindfulness, we're really kind of moving ourselves in a wholesome direction. And so very often when we notice a hindrance is present, we can bring mindfulness to it, and just seeing it clearly makes it kind of fall away. Especially if it's kind of a weak version of a hindrance. Now, there are times when the hindrance is so strong that it doesn't just fall away that easily. But you'd be amazed at how often just seeing it clearly helps to remove that hindrance. And so let's see, we'll start the formal practice here in a minute. there's a teaching that I've always found helpful that the Buddha gave, and it was around what he called the gratification, the danger, and the escape of various things like sensual desire. So he acknowledged, which I appreciate, that we do get a certain gratification from sensual desires, that it's not, we get some pleasure out of it. But the problem is we get kind of attached to that pleasure and we can get caught craving the pleasure. But we don't see the danger in that or the disadvantage of whatever it is that we're craving. And therefore, we're not even interested in the release or escape from it. But in our practice, we're cultivating, seeing it, it's not to deny ourselves pleasure, but to see the inherent disadvantage of whatever it is that we're talking about. So, and part of the disadvantage is it's going to be impermanent. So even if we get some pleasure out of it, it's not really going to be lasting. And it's not really going to lead to any kind of lasting happiness, given its impermanent nature. And so there's not a whole lot to really hold on to there. And the escape is, in a way, to become disenchanted with it when we see how impermanent and fleeting it all really is. And in neuroscience, they've kind of discovered that our brains are really wired for the wanting part. So there's a lot more area of the brain that fires when we're in wanting something. But then the actual pleasure of it is that fires a much smaller part of the brain. And it's very fleeting and easily interrupted. So the conditions have to be just right for us to even get a tiny bit of real pleasure out of it. And it just really doesn't last even in the brain. But we get caught in the wanting part and thinking that we're going to get so much pleasure out of this thing, whatever it is. But the truth is we're just getting fooled by our own brain. So I've found that very helpful to keep in mind when a strong hindrance arises in my practice. And again, this disenchantment is also kind of what leads us on further along the path. When we become less and less enchanted with these sort of worldly things, and we start to see that there is what the Buddha would call like he called those inferior delights or inferior pleasures, and that he had found a superior one in the release, the liberation. So, we're working towards that superior happiness that'll bring real lasting peace, contentment, and whatnot. So this is kind of what we're practicing towards in theory. At least that's what I'm working towards. And I encourage you to at least check it out for yourself. So why don't we go ahead, having said that, let's go ahead and practice for a few minutes together, finding a comfortable upright posture. Might just connect with the sense of the body sitting here. Feel the hands, feel the feet. Just allowing yourself to connect with the body sitting here in real time. Could call it establishing mindfulness rooted in the body. You might take a couple of intentional deeper breaths at the beginning. And you might check in with your intention for your practice today. Just Might be an intention to cultivate more kindness towards myself today or towards others in my life. Whatever your intention may be. And then I often do a quick body scan as I'm practicing. So starting at the top of the head, working down, just noticing if there are any areas of tension, tightness that I can easily soften around or release. So soften around the eyes, relax the muscles in the face, loosen the jaw if we're clenching our teeth at all. You can press the tongue to the roof of the mouth. I'm told that that actually signals to the stomach that no food will be coming for the next few minutes. So it actually allows more of the body to relax. Relax the shoulders and the neck. Relax your arms. Soften the belly. Relaxing the legs, hands, feet. Just allowing the whole system to begin to slow down, come to stillness. With sounds, we kind of let sounds be mostly in the background for now. We're aware of them. We're not feeling a need to block them out, but we're not focusing on them too much. And you can practice with your eyes closed, which would be probably better, but you can also open your eyes and just gaze softly a few feet in front of you if that feels better in this moment. And if you'd like, you can use the breath as a touch point as you're meditating, aware of each in breath, each out breath. Just, it doesn't have to be super focused like at the nostrils. You can just have a general sense of knowing when you're breathing in, knowing when you're breathing out. And just staying as present as you can, both with the sense of the body sitting here and perhaps with the breathing. If your eyes are open, you could even be just aware, seeing is happening. So it's not, we're not necessarily looking, but we're seeing is happening whether we're looking or not. If our eyes are open. And with thoughts, we're aware of the thoughts arising, passing away, trying to take us places. Might be a plan for later or memory from yesterday. Just notice that very natural pull of these thoughts. See if you can be more the witness to the thoughts, not so identified with the thought. We're tuning into this ability we have to be aware in this moment without being lost in thought, distracted. Now might be a good time to check in with yourself, just to see are any hindrances present in this moment. Is there something I'm wanting? Something I'm wishing wasn't here that I wish I could push away? Am I getting sleepy? Am I feeling restless, irritable, discontented? Or am I feeling like maybe this is a waste of my time, doubting? If you're feeling sleepy, you could open your eyes a little, take a deeper breath or two, sit up a little straighter. That's a very common one. If there's say, a food that you're suddenly craving, just remembering that even if we get that food and eat it, it's not going to last very long. And the pleasure of actually tasting it will last even less time than probably the chewing of it and swallowing. So even if we get it, the whole experience will be over before we know it. So just for now, can we let it go? Come back to the next breath. Reconnect with just the joy of being here in the present moment, connected to the body, feeling what it's like to be fully embodied, present, aware. The Buddha is offering us what I've heard called a bigger, better offer, BBO. So the BBO is what it's like to really be present, really be fully here, awake, not lost in thought, not caught by one of the hindrances. And as Joseph Goldstein said, it's very wholesome, this present awareness, sometimes called loving awareness. Our hearts are open and we're present. This is a wonderful way to be in the world. And we will get distracted. So that's okay too. We meet that with kindness for ourselves. Sense of humor can be good. It's like, oh, I really got carried away by that plan. Can label it planning. Find that helpful sometimes, just to notice how much the mind likes to plan. I was on a longer retreat one time, and my teacher, in a teacher meeting, practice discussion, he said, beware of projects. And sure enough, I noticed that every time I got alone in my uh, room, my little bedroom, dorm room, the mind immediately started looking for a project. And this happened over and over, but because he'd said it, I was totally aware of it, and I didn't get caught in the actual projects for the most part. So we're doing this all the time, planning. I mean, it's a natural thing that we do need to do, but as we're meditating, we're kind of practicing letting things like that go, coming back to the breath and the sense of the body sitting here, practicing just being rather than doing. Just notice what that feels like. It can be a sense of, an just like relaxing into the of it all. Sometimes we think it's going to be boring because we're used to constant entertainment, seeking pleasure all the time. But notice the sense of really just stopping, and notice that there's a subtle joy in that. Just relaxing, being here, nothing else we need to be doing, nowhere else we need to be right now. No role we have to play in this moment. Just letting go into pure presence, awareness. So I'm going to ring the bell and we'll end for now. So thank you for your practice today and your attention. And may you go forth with mindfulness and kindness for yourself and others. Thank you very much.